to start us off in some prayer. Let's go ahead and bow your head, close your eyes. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for bringing us here all safely, Lord. I ask that you just be with us. I know a lot of us, probably all of us have requests in our heart. And wherever it may be, Lord, you would just answer those requests for us, Lord. Give us the answer that, maybe not the answer that we maybe want, but give us the answer that we need, Lord. I just want to say again, just thank you for everything. Thank you for bringing us here, bringing us all together to be in community with each other. Um, this is just, it's awesome just to have this small little group right here. So thank you for that, Lord. Thank you for the people who are watching online as well. Thank you for all of them, Lord, and help them, bless them. Answer whatever requests they have, Lord. And thank you for everything, and I just now pray, amen. So today we're going to be going through, it's probably going to be a nice short message, but this week we're going to be going through Jesus walking on water, which then, Peter ends up walking out. So we'll get through all that, but, I think it's a very, very good, like story that was recorded for us, and it's in one of the gospels. It's in all gospels, but the one I'm going to be going through today is the one from Matthew's account of it, which that'll be Matthew chapter 14, and we will be starting at verse 22 for that. So I'm going to start with that verse real quick. Immediately he made the disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. And after he had dismissed the crowds, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone, but the boat by this time was a long way from the land, beaten by the waves, for the wind was against them. So, what's happening, right? So Jesus, he goes up to go pray on the mountain, and he leaves disciples who are, on the boat and stuff at this time. What happened before this was he was given like a sermon. He was talking to big crowds. It's 14. What did you say? Matthew chapter 14. Sorry, chapter 14, verse 22 is where we're starting. But so he went up to pray, and he was there for a long time praying, and he was just there alone. And at this time, the disciples who were on the boat, they were going through kind of like a bad storm at this time. And it was, taking the boat far away from land, and the waves were just, it was pretty bad. The storm was pretty bad. So, the disciples, they were all obviously very frightened, because they were like, what's going on right now? All the waves are crashing against them. They thought surely that they were going to be shipwrecked, because that's how bad the storm was. And then I'm going to go to verse 26. But when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified and said, "It is a ghost," and they cried out in fear. So at this point, Jesus starts walking on the water out towards the boat, of course. And by the way, they were already terrified because of the storm. And then now they see something walking on the water, and, their first thought was fear. They were like, what is this? This is something that's crazy that's going on. Again, the last time they saw Jesus, he was, he dismissed the crowd. He was going on the mountain. So they did not know that this was Jesus walking out onto the water. So they were terrified. Then they cried out in fear. And then we're going to go to the next verse 27. But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, "Take heart, it is I. Do not be afraid." So Jesus sees them as they're being very fearful, of course. And he's like, "What are you guys being fearful about? I'm just walking on water, It's nothing new. I'm just walking on water over here." But he was telling them, "Do not be afraid." And Peter answered him, "Lord, If it is you, command me to come out to you on that water. And then Jesus said, come. So Peter got out of the boat and walked on the water and came to Jesus. So now, not only is Jesus walking on the water, but so is Peter. And, I mean, all the other disciples are looking at this like, whoa, like this is crazy. Like, how are they walking on the water? This water is really deep. It said they were far away from land, so it's really deep water too. And again, this is like in the middle of the storm, that there's just all of a sudden this calm part. But when he saw the wind, so when Peter saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me!" So Peter ended up, even though he was walking on that water, which was like he should have just already had all that faith that he was going to be okay, but he saw that wind, and it made him very fearful. And he cried out. He was like, "Lord, save me! Like I'm drowning!" And then Jesus immediately reached out his hand and took hold of him, saying to him, "Oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt?" Now I'm going to pause for a moment there, because I want to connect this to a kind of like the modern world, right? You might be going through something, right? Sure, like we all are. We're going through something that's crazy. We probably are just like can't really see the end, and we're just thinking like, how am I supposed to have this trust, this faith that I'm going to be able to make it? How am I going to have that trust in him? And then all of a sudden, something comes by, like that wind, and it just steers you off your path. Because you see something and you're like, well, maybe I should be going this way, and then maybe I shouldn't be going that way, and boom. As soon as Peter did that, he started to drown. As soon as he saw something that distracted him from his path, that took his eyes off of Jesus. With our eyes on Jesus, we can do anything. We can walk on water, like Peter. And with our eyes on Jesus, we're staying on that path that he wants us on. But as soon as Peter saw the wind, he became fearful again, even though Jesus just brought him out onto that water with him. And he became fearful. And he was like, he saw the wind and he got very scared. And he started to drown because he took his eyes off of Jesus. And that might happen to some of us. With the problems that we face, whether it be financial, mental, physical. You're going through something and you feel like you're finally getting better, and then just something small or something big happens, and then it just feels like you're drowning. And you took your eyes off of Jesus, and you just start drowning. You're doing so good, but then you just start drowning. And that's what happened with Peter. He saw that wind and he got fearful, started drowning. And I'm saying like this can happen in our lives. Like you get fearful, or you get something that steers us off your path, and you get distracted by something, or one little thing happens, and you feel like you start drowning in your problems. But what did he do when he started drowning? He didn't try and be like, how can I get myself out of this? Let me see how I can get my. No. He cried out to the Lord when he started drowning. He didn't try to do something his own way. He cried out to the Lord. He said, "Lord, save me. Lord, save me." Just 3 words. I had to count that real quick to make sure it was 3 words. But 3 words. Lord, save me. And what did Jesus do? Not just reached out his hand, or not, he took a little look around him real quick and then reached. No. Immediately reached out his hand and took hold of him. Immediately he saved him from what he was doing, from what he was drowning in. Immediately reached out his hand. And I think that's really important. He knew when Peter was drowning, he knew exactly who he had to call on. Even though he had just lost sight of Jesus for that split second, and just lost faith that Jesus could keep him on that water for that split second. What happened when he started drowning? He called out, and immediately Jesus pulled him out of that. um, saying to him, oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt? Because why? Why would he have doubted that Jesus could have got him across the water? I mean, there was no. Jesus was walking on that water. He had him come out to him, and boom! In an instance, Peter looked away, saw that the wind, got fearful. Boom! Started drowning because he took his sight off. He took his faith off of Jesus. And yeah, I mean, like I said, like this this sort of thing can like happen to all of us, where we just aren't. We feel like we're on this right path. And we feel like we're getting better and better. Whether it be like physically, like you're hitting just you're crushing weights and you're doing so good, and then you decide to do behind the head single arm skull crushers, and as you're doing it, you realize maybe I went a little bit too heavy, and the weight falls forward, and then you hear it on your shoulder, and then you're like, I already have one injured shoulder, God, why the other one? That definitely didn't happen to me. But something like that, where you feel like you're getting better and better and better, something comes in, like a wind, just gets you off your feet. But the important thing is, how do you respond to that? I challenge you guys to respond like Peter did. Lord, save me. He looked to Jesus immediately. He didn't take a second to see, how can I get myself out of that? Because I promise you, you're just digging yourself deeper. You can't get yourself out of it. There's things where you just got to look to the Lord for. So yeah, that's like the premise of the message. But I'm going to read this last two verses. It's like 32 and 33. Because it's also important that they did this after Jesus saved them and stuff. And when they got into the boat, the wind ceased. So all those worries, right, that they had, boom, gone. Exactly, it ceased. And those in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." So they saw us. They said, "Truly, truly, truly, you are the Son of God. You saved us. You made this wind go away. This wind that was such a problem for us before. You made it go away."